Napoleon Bonaparte, the man of destiny, was one of the greatest characters of all time in history. Historians emphasize the strength of the ambition that took Napoleon from an obscure village to rule over most of Europe. Napoleon was born on 15th August 1769 at Corsica, an island in the Mediterranean Sea. The same year that the Republic of Genoa ceded the region of Corsica to France. His father was an attorney who went on to be named Corsica's representative to the courts of Louis XVI in 1777. He was the fourth child and third son of the family. The dominant influence of Napoleon's childhood was his mother. Later in life, Napoleon stated, "Future destiny of the child is always the work of mother." When he turned 9 years old, he moved to the French mainland and enrolled at a religious school in Autun in January 1779. In May, he transferred with a scholarship to a military academy at Bernay-le-Château. Upon graduating in September 1785, Bonaparte has commissioned a second lieutenant in the La Fara artillery regiment. Although he was born Napoleon Bonaparte, it was after this that Napoleon began styling himself Napoleon Bonaparte. On 3rd October, Royalists in Paris declared a rebellion against the National Convention. Napoleon played a major role in protecting Convention from the Royalist rebellion, and that earned Napoleon sudden fame, wealth, and the patronage of the new government, the Directory. Bonaparte was promoted to Commander of the Interior and given command of the Army of Italy. Napoleon was romantically involved with Josephine de Beauharnais, the former mistress of Paris. The couple married on 9th March 1796 in a civil ceremony. 2 days after the marriage, Bonaparte left Paris to take command of the Army of Italy. The decisive French triumph at Rivoli in January 1797 led to the collapse of the Austrian position in Italy. At Rivoli, the Austrians lost up to 14,000 men, while the French lost about 5,000. In the next phase of the battle, Napoleon reached almost near the Vienna, capital of Austria, and forced Austria to sign the Treaty of Campo Formio. After 2 months of planning, Bonaparte decided that France's naval strength was not yet sufficient enough to confront the British Royal Navy. He decided on a military expedition to seize Egypt and thereby undermine British access to its trade interest in India. In May 1798, Bonaparte was elected a member of the French Academy of Science. His Egyptian expedition included a group of 167 scientists with mathematicians, naturalists, chemists, and geodesists among them. Their discoveries included the Rosetta Stone, and their work was published in the Description de l'Égypte in 1809. Napoleon, with the help of some other, overthrew the Directory by a coordinated on 9th November 1799, closing down the Council of 500. Now Napoleon established a new political system. He drafted a new constitution and secured his own election as first consul. During the consulate, Napoleon faced several royalist and Jacobin assassination plots. To expand his power, Napoleon used those assassination plots to justify the creation of an imperial system based on the Roman model. Launching yet another referendum, Napoleon was elected as Emperor of the French. The British-led coalition was dramatically defeated by Napoleon at the Battle of Austerlitz in December of 1805. After Austerlitz, Napoleon established the Confederation of the Rhine, a collection of German states intended to serve as a buffer zone between France and Central Europe in 1806. Napoleon knew that he could not defeat the British Navy face to face. So to weaken the British economy, Napoleon imposed the continental system through the Berlin Decree issued in November 1806. The continental system prohibited European nations from trading with Britain. On 14th June, Napoleon obtained an overwhelming victory over the Russians at the Battle of Friedland, and a treaty was signed between them at Tilsit. Napoleon was unhappy with the Portuguese government, which was constantly violating the trade prohibition. So Napoleon negotiated a secret treaty with Charles IV of Spain and sent an army to invade Portugal. There was also an internal problem between the members of the royal family in Spain. Napoleon took advantage of the situation and appointed his brother Joseph Bonaparte as the new king of Spain in summer of 1808. The appointment enraged a heavily religious and conservative Spanish population. Resistance to the French aggression soon spread throughout Spain. The shocking French defeat at the Battle of Baylen in July gave hope to Napoleon's enemy. After 4 years on the sideline, Austria sought another war with France to avenge, but defeated again by France. The resulting Treaty of Schönbrunn in October 1809 was the harshest that France had imposed on Austria in recent memory. Empress Josephine had still not given birth to a child from Napoleon, who became worried about the future of his empire following his death. Hoping to cement the recent alliance with Austria through a family connection, Napoleon married Mary Louise, Duchess of Parma, daughter of Francis II. On 20th March 1811, Mary Louise gave birth to a baby boy. A major strain on the relationship between France and Russia became a regular violation of the continental system by the Russians, which led Napoleon to threaten Alexander with serious consequences. On 24th June 1812, the Russian invasion commenced. A brief attempt of resistance was made at Smolensk in August, but the Russians were defeated in a series of battles and Napoleon resumed his advance. Owing to the Russian army's scorched earth tactics, the French found it increasingly difficult to forage food for themselves and their horses. After winning the Battle of Borodino, Napoleon entered Moscow, which was already burned and empty. After 5 weeks, Napoleon left Moscow. The French suffered in the course of a ruinous retreat, including from the harshness of the Russian winter. The army had begun as over 4 lakhs frontline troops, with fewer than 40,000 crossing the Varzina River in November 1812. The Russians had lost 150,000 soldiers in the battle and hundreds of thousands of civilians. Heartened by the French loss in Russia, Russia joined with Austria, Sweden, Russia, Great Britain, Spain and Portugal in a new coalition. Despite those successes, the number continued to amount against Napoleon, and the French army was pinned down by a force twice its size and lost at a Battle of Leipzig. In the Treaty of Fontainebleau, the Allies exiled Napoleon to Elba, an island of 12,000 inhabitants in the Mediterranean. They gave him sovereignty over the island and allowed him to retain the title of emperor. Napoleon tried to attempt suicide with a pill he had carried after nearly being captured by Russians during the retreat from Moscow. Napoleon escaped from Elba in the brig Constant on 26 February 1815 with 700 men. 2 days later, he landed on the French mainland Gulf Havan and started heading north. Napoleon arrived in Paris on 20th March and governed a period now called the 100 Days. The unpopular Louis XVIII fled to Belgium after realizing that he had little political support. On 13th March, the power at the Congress of Vienna declared Napoleon an outlaw. 4 days later, Great Britain, Russia, Austria and Prussia each pledges to put 150,000 men into the field to end his rule. Napoleon's forces fought 2 coalitions armies commanded by the British Duke of Wellington and Prussian Prince Blücher at the Battle of Waterloo on 18th June 1815. Wellington's army withstood repeated attacks by the French and drove them from the field, while the Prussians arrived in force and broke through Napoleon's right flank. Napoleon returned to Paris and found that both legislature and the people had turned against him. Realizing that his position was untenable, he abdicated on 22nd June in favor of his son. Napoleon surrendered to Captain Frederick Maitland on HMS Bellerophon on 15th July 1815. The British kept Napoleon on the island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean, 1,870 km from the west coast of Africa. In February 1821, Napoleon's health began to deteriorate rapidly and he reconciled with the Catholic Church. He died on 5th May 1821 at Longwood House at the age of 51.